In our culture and in various other cultures, we have an absolutely extraordinary attitude to the new member of the human society. Instead of offering a simple welcome to the human race, we effectively introduce children to life as a structured game governed by specific rules. Our aim is to impart these rules so that they comprehend how to navigate existence. As they mature, they may even devise improved rules. Yet instead of embracing this perspective, we tend to view children as being on probation, not fully acknowledged as human beings, but rather as aspiring members of humanity. Consequently, we maintain the roles of parents and educators, guiding and molding them along the way. This mentality results in a systematic preparation of children for life, eternally in a state of readiness without ever truly reaching fulfillment. It commences with schooling, starting with grades, where we gently coax children into this system, always priming them for what lies ahead. Nursery school readies them for kindergarten, kindergarten for first grade, and so forth until they progress through the grades to high school. Then there's the push for college, followed by graduate school for the more academically inclined, perpetuating a cyclical pattern within the system. While the conventional trajectory doesn't necessarily promote this perpetual cycle, the ultimate objective is to equip graduates to step into the professional world. However, upon entering this domain, individuals encounter familiar dynamics, such as striving to meet quotas in initial sales meetings. Success results in heightened expectations, potentially culminating in a vice presidency around the age of 45. Yet, at this juncture, individuals may realize that despite achieving these milestones, life feels largely unchanged. They're conditioned to perpetually yearn for a future, despite sensing a deprivation of something more fulfilling. So the final goal that this culture prepares for us is called retirement. When you will be a senior citizen, you will have the wealth and the leisure to do what you've always wanted, but you will, at the same time, have impotence, false teeth, and no energy. The entire premise, from start to finish, is essentially a charade, with additional layers of deception for added amusement. You find yourself immersed in a peculiar business framework that effectively segregates your day into work and leisure. Work, a universal undertaking, is compensated solely because no one finds it remotely appealing. It's so dreadfully mundane and uninteresting that one can only be persuaded to endure it in exchange for payment. The primary goal of this labor is to accumulate wealth, with the ultimate aim being to return home and relish the fruits of one's labor. Yet the notion that money can procure genuine pleasure is a fallacy. True enjoyment is not derived from the mere possession of a symbol of power, such as money, but rather from personal disciplines and pursuits. In my vicinity, for instance, we have piers lined with lavish boats, motor cruisers, sailing vessels and the like that seldom see any use. They were acquired under the false promise that ownership would bring pleasure, status, or some other coveted attribute. However, owners quickly realized that operating a boat demands the mastery of seamanship, a challenging yet fulfilling endeavor. Consequently, they find themselves too preoccupied to invest time in such pursuits, relegating their boats to little more than venues for weekend cocktail parties. In myriad ways, this phenomenon reveals itself. Upon returning home, one might anticipate the joyous revelry befitting the wealthiest individuals on earth. Perhaps an opulent banquet or a hedonistic orgy would mark the occasion. Yet the reality is far more mundane. Instead of extravagant feasts, people settle for TV dinners, mere reheated replicas of airline cuisine. Their evenings unfold before screens, where electronic simulations of life play out, tantalizingly close yet unnervingly distant behind the barrier of glass. It's a surreal experience, unable to touch or smell the scenes unfolding before them. In this strange disconnect, there's a poignant realization. Despite the years spent climbing the ladder of success, guided by the promise of a tantalizing goodie waiting at the end, that moment of ultimate fulfillment never quite arrives. The disappointment is palpable, stemming from a deep-seated flaw in the very essence of our identity. It's a defect woven into the fabric of our upbringing, ingrained from childhood, shaping our perceptions and aspirations in ways that ultimately leave us yearning for a sense of fulfillment that remains forever elusive. I believe the most pivotal aspect underlying this entire phenomenon is the way in which our culture shapes the growth and development of children. This transcends geographical boundaries, extending beyond just Western societies to encompass cultures like Japan, where I have first-hand knowledge. We impart upon children a conditioning that presents them with a life dilemma, one that appears insurmountable and perpetually accompanied by frustration. This insoluble quandary is consistently deferred to the future, instilling in individuals the notion that they should live not for the present, but for what lies ahead. It's essential to clarify that I'm not advocating for a hedonistic carpe diem philosophy, urging individuals to live solely for the moment without considering the consequences. Rather, I'm highlighting the importance of balancing future planning with present experience. While making plans for the future is undoubtedly valuable, it only truly benefits those who are capable of fully embracing and experiencing the present moment. Consider the analogy of a dollar bill, a tangible representation of a promise to pay, always deferring fulfillment to a future time. Yet, as the adage goes, tomorrow never comes. It illustrates the perpetual cycle of anticipation and postponement, wherein happiness is predicated on the promise of tomorrow rather than the fulfillment of today. This creates a paradox wherein individuals become trapped in a constant state of longing, perpetually chasing a future that remains forever out of reach. Everything in our lives appears to revolve around the belief that tomorrow holds the key to our fulfillment, allowing us to indulge in pleasures today. Confucius once shared a profound insight that resonates deeply. A man who understands the Tao in the morning can die contentedly in the evening. This ancient wisdom suggests that if one truly comprehends the essence of existence, even for a fleeting moment, they can face the end of life with a sense of fulfillment. It's akin to savoring a perfect moment, knowing that it encapsulates the essence of joy and satisfaction. However, for many, this elusive understanding remains out of reach. Instead, death looms like an unwelcome guest, interrupting the festivities prematurely. It's comparable to the bartender calling for last orders at 2 o'clock in the morning, signaling an end to the revelry before one has truly savored the experience. At the heart of this existential dilemma lies our method of instilling a sense of identity in children, a process fraught with contradictions and uncertainties. We define individuals by their attributes, achievements, and societal roles, imbuing them with a fragile sense of self. This construct of the ego becomes tightly intertwined with a perpetual sense of frustration as individuals strive to reconcile their innermost desires with the external pressures of societal expectations.